All right, gang, as promised, in studio with us, we have the always sharp, always poignant, always intelligent, and today also smells good, Mr. Brian Johnson of Valley Mortgage. So good morning, BJ.
Hey, good morning, Eric. Thanks for having me here today.
As always, good to have you here. Thanks for being today's show sponsor. And as promised, I want to talk about McMansions. Are you familiar with the term? Have you heard it before?
I have. I actually used to live in Minneapolis, and that's a big market for those, that's for sure.
Did you live in a McMansion?
I did not. I lived in a nice little house in St. Paul, so it was great.
How cute.
It was.
That's great. Do you, as somebody who's in the mortgage industry, do you see and understand how there's maybe McMansion issues starting to exist here? It's simple yes or no.
I see that, yes.
Okay,
yes.
So let's unpack this for the listening audience, because I think it's important to go on a ride and to go on a journey. BJ, we're Facebook friends. Did you see what I posted the last couple days about the market in the last 3 years?
You know, I didn't. It was kind of a busy week at the end of the
excuses.
month. So.
I thought we were friends. I thought you were watching everything I post, from my love of bacon to my cute kids to the occasional market update.
I usually catch up the following week. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll talk about it in person. This time, almost to the day, 3 years ago, Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo, and the surrounding communities had about 1,000 homes on the market. Mm-hmm. Okay, so 2014, we had a busy 2014, didn't we?
It was. Yep, that was one of the busiest years, and I think even it spilled into 15 also.
Absolutely, we did in the market. But what's happened now is that the market started to get more saturated. Mm-hmm. And when I last looked, there's over 1,500 homes on the market now. Mm-hmm. And so that's a 50% change in inventory in a 3-year period. Yep. Right? Where are we seeing the most inventory right now? Where do buyers have the most options?
I think over 350 and higher.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yeah, you're spot on, actually. Okay. And it's across the board, there's more inventory, but the real saturation is over, let's say over 400. Let's draw that line there, because that's the stat that I used 3 years ago. In the market for single family homes, I took out Lakes Country, I took out rural, and I just looked at Fargo-Moorhead and West Fargo. Yep. In the metro area, for single-family homes, no condos or townhomes or anything, just single-family dwellings, there were 93 homes on the market in 2014. How many homes do you think are on the market now in 2017 in that range?
520.
Well, that's overshooting, and you're taking away some of the thunder now
of
my point. It was about 215, 220 homes.
That is a huge jump, though.
But remember, the market has increased 50%, but that market's increased like 150%.
Yep.
There's saturation, and the saturation comes from the McMansions. These homes that were, I don't want to say mass-produced, because I think that there's good quality construction in this town.
I would agree with that.
But if you're buying or building a home in that $400,000 to $700,000 or $800,000 range, a lot of it kind of looks the same, doesn't it?
They do look a lot similar, that's for sure. Yeah. There's not a lot of difference. Everybody's got kind of the same architecture style in those types of homes.
My wife and I are just at the tail end of a remodel now, and we've worked with Chris Hawley, and he does exquisite work, and we've had to pay for exquisite work. Mm-hmm. It's pretty expensive. Our architecture fees are paid by the hour, like a lawyer would when it comes to drafting. Most contractors in this community, Brian, they'll go to a lumber store and use the drafts person for the lumber store to come up with the floor plan. Do you see that as a problem? Please say yes, because I sure do.
Yes, I do.
Why is that a problem? Why is that such a pain point in our market right now, and why is that leading to market saturation?
Well, I think that just leaves you with a limited number of options. Mm-hmm. So typically, that's what you're gonna end up with in a lot of the similar looking homes. So architects, they really like to dig in and be creative. They're more the creative type. So then that's where you have the differences. So if you go look and drive around closer to downtown and you look at all the old architecture, there's a lot of different styles from...
Yeah, charming, right?
Right, it is. And now, that, like you mentioned earlier, from probably 2000 on to today, there's a lot of the same boxy styles, and that's just a cheaper, more cost-effective way to build things. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a bad thing to have a McMansion or to buy a McMansion, but what you have to be cautious of is this: when it comes time to resell. When it comes time to resell, and if we take a 10,000-foot view of it, is there's not 220 options on the market right now. There's 40 options, and there's option 1 that has option 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, and 1E, because it's all built by the same builder within the same 2 or 3 year time period, and there's very few differences.
Right.
Right?
Yep. I would agree with that.
Now, so there's not 200 options, there's 40 options with subcategories of that. But I want to talk specifically to those people that are thinking about buying a house right now. I actually would encourage you to buy a McMansion. I don't know if today I would encourage you to build a McMansion. Why would that be, Brian?
I'm curious to hear why this would be.
When you build, you're automatically paying top dollar for something,
That's
right?
true. Yes.
You're not getting anything at a discount price.
Yep.
Now, if you find a house that's been built, my guess is that builder's probably sat on it for a little while. Or if you find a house that's been listed, the seller has been struggling to get it selling. And so I actually think now is the time for buyers in this market.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think you're going to have landscaping completed in some of those. Specials are probably a little bit lower than what the newer lots are coming out. So you're going to probably get a much better deal by doing that.
Window treatments are one of those things that isn't really talked about.
They are very expensive.
Let's be honest, Brian. How much did you spend on window treatments in your house?
I'd have to ask my wife.
Okay.
A lot more than I'd even want to know.
$15,000-$20,000, right?
I think they can add up pretty quick to that.
Yeah, and that's not curtains. That's just blinds.
Right.
Using the old sheet in your dorm room and tack it up there doesn't really cut it anymore now, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So if you're listening closely and intently right now and you're hearing this conversation about McMansions, I actually think that now is the time to buy something. Because it's still a great house with great size, and I think the craftsmanship in the area has been solid. But what's happening is if you have to sell a house like that, you can't price it as what the price was last year, or the year before, or the year before. You have to understand that the market is more saturated. And you also have to understand that people have options for a similar house. And so we often hear that you have to be the prettiest girl at the prom, right? Meaning you have to have the best amenities, the best whatever, but you also have to be the most popular, which means you're the best priced. And so when it comes to buying right now, Brian, I think that people would be foolish not to talk with you to find out how they can take advantage of this shifting market. Because if you're a move-up buyer, you can get more house than you ever thought possible. And I think that our market like this is going to stay for quite some time. So Brian, what advice would you heed to those buyers out there, and how can they contact you?
Yep, I think we'd have really good options. Now's a great time to buy, like you mentioned. Interest rates are still very, very low. I think they're going to stay this way for a little while. They're anticipating to finally maybe start moving up here in the next 6 months to a year, 18 months. So now's a great time. There's a lot of great options with low down payment too. So if you're in that market, you don't need a large down payment. So give us a call at 461-8450 or visit us online at valleymortgageinc.com. Or you can come and see us at 3315 45th Street South.
And if you forget all that, just go to livefargomoorhead.com, and we have a link to Valley Mortgage right there on our main page, so you can check out Brian and see just how dapper he always looks. BJ, Brian Johnson, Valley Mortgage, thanks for talking McMansions today, and I think that buyers out there would be foolish not to jump at an opportunity. So, folks, to see those opportunities of all those McMansions on the market right now, head to livefargomoorhead.com. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch.